A tough match against a good opponent away from home, off the back of a tough Champions League midweek match. A comeback from 2-0 down to 2-2. This is Brighton away. Welcome to Nick's COYS Corner. Well, that was a tough match, especially off the back of the Villarreal game in midweek, as I said. Brighton are a good side. They cause the top teams a lot of problems. They're good at home. They get good results. So a draw isn't the end of the world. I was really, really encouraged by the performance in this match, particularly in possession. I thought the aggression we showed, the pressing, the slickness in possession, the movement, the tempo, the intensity, it was just all so much better than it has been in all of our games so far. And I take real heart from that, and I'm really encouraged by Frank in that regard too. As I said, a draw isn't the worst result in the world. I mean, especially from 2-0 down, the situation we were in the game, to come back. But I was, and I still am, slightly frustrated we didn't get 3 points, because we played well enough, I think, to win the game. So it's one of those where you take the result, and before the game I probably would have taken a draw, to be quite honest with you. But I think it shows that we did play well, that I'm frustrated we didn't get 3 points. Still a little bit over-reliant on creativity from wide areas, but I thought we showed some signs of creativity in the central areas once Xavi came on, and that's really encouraging, I think, for future matches and for the next few games. So with the lineups, I wanted Xavi to play. I can't lie. Obviously, I'm really excited to watch him for us, but I'm trying to see it from Frank's point of view, and I'm guessing that he is worried about the intensity of the league. He played away to West Ham, and he's played a Champions League game now, another tough away Premier League match. He's probably worried about just him getting caught out by the intensity and overworking him too quickly. So I think he's just trying to ease him in, which is fair enough. Even if we disagree, I can understand it. So I was a bit frustrated he didn't start. But overall, I have to say, I'm very, very impressed with Frank's rotation so far. It's a small sample size, but for years I've been wanting to see Spurs managers rotate well and rotate properly, and not by making wholesale changes to rest players, but just 2 or 3 changes at the right times in different areas when needed. And so far, I think Frank's done really well with that. Udogie came in, Odebear came in. They both provided fresh legs and energy down that left-hand side, and some nice quality as well. And obviously Palhinha came in, and he brought fresh legs as well to the midfield. So, massive credit to Frank so far. I really hope he keeps it up, because it's really impressive, the rotation. It really is, and it will really help us sustain our performance levels across the season, I think, if he keeps nailing it in this area. So pretty happy with the team overall, as I said about Xavi, but to be honest, I felt like it was still a good team, a good enough team for us to get the win, and we started really well off the back of that lineup as well. So that's good. Brighton, well, they had a strong team out. No out-and-out striker, but they had Gruda and Rutter, and both of those bring a lot of creativity, a lot of good movement. And with Minta and Matoma, they're a massive threat out wide, and the pace and technical quality across that attack for Brighton is very, very good, and that's why they're a good side. So it was always going to be a tough match, I think, against that lineup. So I thought our pressing was super aggressive from the off in this game. And the tempo we started with, the intensity, just really helped pin Brighton in. And they couldn't really get hold of the ball for any sustained periods. And we dominated really away from home. The trade-off for the way we started, the way we played, that aggression, was obviously the space we left in behind. And that's going to happen. There's no perfect way of playing in football. If you try and play high up, obviously the space is behind you. But I love seeing that aggression from Spurs. I just love seeing that from my team. And I think we can defend the transitions better if we work on the spacing, the positioning, and the decision-making, maybe when the pressing doesn't quite work, on the fly, thinking, okay, I need to drop now, I need to retreat here. So there's things we can work on, but really encouraging the aggression we showed, I think, away from home. And when you consider that we did play midweek, even more impressive. Really was, because so many times I've seen Spurs off the back of European matches be lethargic, struggling games, no tempo, and that was not the case here. We really did play with good tempo and intensity, and we just kept going as well. So really impressive. The goals we conceded were frustrating. I felt Odegaard was weak, losing the ball to Minter where he did. Doggy had made that overlap and obviously left us open. And then I think we made a series of kind of bad decisions that led to the goal. Palhinha stepped up and he tried to press, which left a gap behind him. And then Van der Ven tried to step up onto Rutter and close him down. That left a space behind him. And that meant we had kind of Odegaard, Romero and Porro covering at the back with a big gap. When we really needed Van der Ven's recovery speed to help us with that much space in behind. So a series of bad decisions, things for us to look at, but also fair play to Brighton. They worked the goal really nicely, and Minter made a lot of good choices on the way to his finish, and he's a really good player. So fair play to them on that. The second goal was an awful error from Vicario. It really was. A cheap giveaway from Lucas Bergvall in the build-up as well. But I really think Vicario has to be saving that effort. And it was so frustrating to be 2-0 down when you think, well, we're playing really well here. And actually, we're losing 2-0. And how did that happen? So, yeah, frustrating, but I'm happy with the way we kept going. And we got, obviously, the goal before half-time, which got us back in the match. And we deserved it as well. Really interesting as well, the way both centre-backs pressed so aggressively and so high up against Brighton. And if you remember the Manchester City game, Match of the Day highlighted that Van der Ven and Romero pressed really high up the pitch. And it worked most occasions against Man City, but it did leave quite a big gap with just Udogie and Porro covering the space. It happened again in this game, but this time Brighton did get out a few times, and that's why some of their counters look so dangerous. And I'll show a couple of clips actually that highlight this. But because of that pressing, because of that aggression, that's one of the reasons we were able to have like 65% of the ball away from home and really box them in for long periods of the match. And talking about possession, I felt like we were much closer together as a team. We were more connected. I felt that midfield in particular were closer. And I've watched the game back and I'll show some clips, and there's much more connectivity between the kind of Palhinha, Bentancur and Bergvall and Xavi when he comes on as well. And yeah, just felt as a result we looked a lot more slick in possession. We had a better tempo. We just looked more threatening on the ball, more dangerous, I felt. Especially when Xavi did come on, then we really went up another level and looked like a real top side, I thought. Bergvall in midfield, I felt like he had a bit of a poor match. Things weren't really coming off for him. He was obviously playing as the most advanced player. But saying that, when Xavi came on, I thought Bergvall's performance improved massively. And it kind of went to this kind of 4-3-3 shape, it looked like to me, with Xavi inside left, Bergvall inside right, Palhinha sitting. But Bergvall had that freedom to drop in, get on the ball, and still get forward and make those runs in that inside right space, with Kudus kind of wide and outside of him. So yeah, his performance was poor up until Xavi came on. Then I thought it really got a lot better. Udogie was the man of the match for me. Absolutely outstanding coming in for Spence. Offered that natural balance on the left-hand side. He helped us with our build-up. I thought we looked like we could progress the ball a lot better down the left. He made several excellent underlapping runs, but also some overlapping runs. He got into the box and delivered cutbacks and crosses well. And he also cut out several of their attacks by reading the game and using his physicality and speed to cut out Minter and a couple of others as well. So he was excellent, and for me, he was the best player on the pitch. So really happy to see him back, and aren't we lucky with the fullback choices that we have? I mean, it's a fantastic position to be in. I thought Xavi, when he came on, was really good and really took us up a level. And he showed that spark centrally that we've been missing and showed that creativity in that area that we really need, and I think will take us to the next level as a team. And just a quick one on Odebear as well. It's been quite a mixed reaction for Odebear. I'd love to know what you think about his performance. I thought he was decent. I thought his link-up play with Udogie was good. I just want to see more aggression from Odebear on the ball as well as off it. I want to see him have a bit more self-belief, to take opponents on, to make things happen. And I think if he can do that, he can become a really good player, because he has got something about him, but he definitely needs to get stronger off the ball, as we saw when he lost it for the first goal. But yeah, interested to know what you think about Odebear's performance. So looking at some clips today, as I said, we're looking in first at the midfield connectivity and the way they were positioned. And it just felt like we were much closer together in this match. So this first shot here, you can see Bergvall, Palhinha and Bentancur were building up from Vicario. He goes long on this occasion, but look how close the midfield three are compared to the last videos, what I showed you with a massive amount of space. Move on to this one, you can see Bentancur and Palhinha again close together. Bergvall's pushed up slightly more, as he did throughout the match. But again, they're still close together. There's not as much space as there was previously. Here, Van der Ven's got the ball at the back. There's Palhinha just inside him. Bentancur, a bit of a straight line this time, but you can still see the three midfielders connected together, and they're much closer. There's many more options on the ball in midfield. This time we've got Brighton boxed in, and we're really high up the pitch. Porro's got it over here, and you can see Palhinha, Bentancur and Bergvall's just having made a run, is just coming back to drop into a slightly deeper position from high up. But again, they're close together. The whole team there, apart from Romero and Vicario, are in shot. It's quite remarkable, really, how aggressive we were. Here again, there's Palhinha, there's Bentancur, there's Bergvall. The three midfielders very clearly close together, much closer together than they were in previous matches. And now the space is behind them. And as I show you later in these clips, Xavi kind of helps solve that problem. Here again, Palhinha has it deep. There's Bentancur to his left, Bergvall to his right. A clear midfield, three players there. And nowhere near the amount of space that there was previously. And this is the goal we got back just before half-time in the first half. Palhinha winning the ball high up. There's Bergvall, there's Bentancur. Look how close together they all are. And again here, second half, Palhinha's dropped in. There's Bentancur to his left, there's Bergvall to his right. Very clear options through midfield. We can still go long, and we did a few times, but the options are there for us. It makes it harder for Brighton to read what we're going to do. This is when Xavi had come on now. Palhinha's deep, Xavi's to his left, Bergvall's to his right. Again, a clear triangle of midfielders. And speaking of Xavi, he made a massive difference when he came on. His willingness to get on the ball, try to make things happen, and he started to make us tick. It reminded me a little bit of the way Eriksen used to just go and get the ball, keep it moving, and start creating. Here he picks up the ball to the left of Palhinha. You can see Bergvall's made a forward run here. But again, Xavi dropping in to get on the ball, get in possession and try to make things happen for us. You can see a very clear triangle midfield again here. There's Palhinha, there's Bergvall, there's Xavi. Xavi's inside left, Bergvall's inside right in that 4-3-3 kind of shape in possession. And that was prominent once Xavi came on. Bergvall was able to drop in to help with build up, but also he was able to drive into these inside right spaces, and Xavi did the same on the other side. Here's our equalising goal. So it starts here with Xavi. You can see Palhinha and Bergvall are both close to him. And then Xavi switches the play after a brilliant bit of skill to beat his man and get a yard, switches it out, fizzes it wide to Kudus. He puts the cross in and we equalise. But again, really good play from midfield. And some examples now of what Xavi can do for us in central areas. He picks the ball up here off Palhinha and he drives through midfield, takes us forward on the carry. Richarlison makes a little run into that space where the arrow is. Xavi finds him. Unfortunately, Richarlison's shot is a tame one, but it could have led to a really good opportunity. And here's the best example of Xavi creating from central areas, something we just really haven't done so far this season. Ball comes into him. He picks the ball up in the zone you really want to see Xavi in. Bergvall and Richarlison make a run for him. Xavi, with his creativity, his vision, spots the pass, fizzes it through. It's meant for Richarlison, and unfortunately Lucas intercepts it and takes it off his feet. Otherwise, Richarlison would have had a really good chance to score. But really good example there of how Xavi's creativity in central areas can help us. Now let's look at the counter-attacks, the transitions, and how we can defend them better and what went wrong during the game. So this is Brighton's first goal. And Minter steals the ball from Odobert, who's a bit too weak. And you can see Udogie right here has made this run forward, so he's out of position. Then we have a series of choices to make, and we get them wrong for me. Palhinha and Bentancur both press, which leaves a gap behind them. Van der Ven then presses in on Rutter, but by doing so, he leaves a big hole behind him, which Minter exploits, making a run off of Odobert and in behind. And Romero doesn't quite step up in time to play offside. Very tight, good play from Brighton, but as I show you from this aerial shot, highlighted on the left is Palhinha and the bottom is Minter. Now when Palhinha moves towards the Brighton player Gruder, he leaves the space behind him here, and Van der Ven chooses to engage. But by doing so, he leaves a huge space for Minter to exploit. For me, what we should have done differently is Palhinha, realising we haven't managed to win it back quickly, should drop in to cover Rutter and block off the pass to him. And Van der Ven should prepare to make that backward run to cover Minter's speed, because we know that in any foot race, Van der Ven wins. So if we do that, yes, Brighton would progress the play a little bit higher up the pitch, but we still would have been able to win the ball back, and we would have cut out that space that they exploited for that first goal. Another example in the first half of our aggression from the centre-backs. In picture are both Van der Ven and Romero here on the right-hand side. Now in this instance, Romero manages to win the ball, but it falls to a Brighton player. There's Bentancur, there's Palhinha, there's Romero, and there's Van der Ven. They're trying to box Brighton in and not give them any passing options through the lines. But the problem is, we've won the ball, but it's fallen to a Brighton player in the second ball. And now, both centre-backs are way out of position. Brighton play a long ball over the top, and look at the space between Porro and Udogie. Udogie is able to slow the attack down, and he actually does brilliantly against Minter down the line. But again, I think an example coming back to this is really probably one of Van der Ven or Romero should drop back when we realise we're not going to win it cleanly and try to cover the space quicker to stop Brighton countering in so much space. Here's another example from first half. Palhinha goes to make a challenge, does all right, but it doesn't win it cleanly, and Brighton break away. And as we were so aggressive off the ball, so many bodies forward, Brighton end up in this position. And they're able to slip their attacker in. Luckily for us, on this occasion, Van der Ven is alongside him, and no one's beaten Van der Ven in a foot race. This one came off the back of a set piece where Van der Ven and Romero had stayed up. Porro makes a good cross. We've got a lot of numbers in the box because we're trying to get a goal back. But Brighton end up breaking and end up in this position with our centre-backs high up, and we're having to desperately recover on a counter. So another example there of Brighton nearly exploiting us, but Udogie does really well, really aggressive, and reads the game brilliantly. And just lastly, in the second half, here's Romero. And he's pressing up really high here on his man again. But Brighton are able to spin. They're able to get out. And Porro's with Romero. And all of a sudden, when that ball comes over the top, again, look at the space. So it's just about positioning, spacing, and I think really decision-making on the fly. Knowing when we haven't been able to win the ball cleanly and quickly, we have to know when to then drop off and quickly recover to stop them exploiting so much space. And if we can get that balance right, then we will cut out a lot of counter-attacks. You're never going to cut out everything, because when you play high at the pitch, that's the risk you take. But I do think we can get better at that balance, and I trust Frank to start improving in that area, and I love the fact we were this aggressive away from home. So an encouraging performance and a decent result against a good opponent, a good start to the season, and some real signs of positive development from Thomas Frank. Let me know what you thought about the match in the comments below. Let me know who your player of the match was. Mine was Udogie, and I'd love to know if you thought the same or if it was someone different. And did you notice anything else in the match that I've not mentioned? Get in the comments, let me know. And if you could please like this video, subscribe to the channel, it really would mean the world to me. I really appreciate your support. And as always, come on you Spurs.